Hi, this is Lakshmi Kantiwari. Previously, we have covered many tutorials based on CC3200 programming with Code Composer Studio. In this tutorial, I am going to show you how you can access time from my internet. This is known as a NTP, SNTP, Simple Network Time Protocol. Okay, so here is a server address in.pool.ntp.org. There are many server addresses which you can use to get the time. Okay, so either you can get it with IP version 4 or 6, so it depends. Okay, that means server are available in IP version 4 and the 6. Okay, so there are many servers and a list of another servers are available here. Also, if you go into the microsoft.com, you would get SNTP server addresses, right? And I think this is does not exit here. Somehow it's getting here. No problem, don't worry about that, just close it. So these are the servers. Okay, and so what we'll be doing here, we'll be accessing a time from the internet, then we'll be showing that on a UART. So for that, let's open Code Composer Studio, CCS Studio, and navigate to the project menu, and let's import a CCS project. And again, we need to go at the same place, that's the Embrace, and then inside the TI, it's SDK, and SDK, just open it. And then you can see here get time. Okay, so get time, just finish it, it will automatically import here. And if you open it, there is main.c and main.c, and there are few more files. You can see the first time the timer if.c is being introduced here. So let me first explain you timer if.c, and for that I would like to show you also a data sheet for the timer. So let me see for the timer, the data sheet for the timer, and the data sheet for the timer here, right? So it has CC3200 has many timers, and they are available into a 16 and the 32-bit general purpose timers. Either you can also use for capture, compare, pulse width modulation timers with the 8-bit pre-scalers for clock division, right? So here is architecture of your timer. Okay, so the timer control is here general purpose timer, GPTM TAPS. Okay, so that's the kind of timer A and the timer B. So there are two timers, right? So the timer A and the timer B, and here is the timer B control, and here is timer A control, right? And then here is it's getting the output, right? Odd and the even. Okay, and I think this is just a short introduction about the timer, and when we take the timer tutorial, I'll explain this timer in very detail. So now let's come back to the CCS. So this is timer if.c, and inside this you can see their peripheral interrupt numbers. So that's the timer interrupt number. Here is timer initializations. So here you need to give the peripheral name for which you want to initialize timer base. Okay, and here is this is a timer configurations, and then the prescaler value, you know, the peripheral resets and the peripheral clock enable for which you want to enable the clock. Okay, I'll show you this in detail. Okay, in main.c when we study timer if interrupt setup, and timer if interrupt clear, right? Timer if start, so it will start the timer ultimately, right? Here, so now come back to the main.c. Okay, so if you come back to the main.c, there I can show you the timer. First let me show you the timer here. So if I search here a timer, then it will lead to me here, right? So see here the periodic timer interrupt, here a timer periodic interrupt handler. So it initializes the timer A0 base, and it's then clearing the timer interrupt, etc. Okay, and here LED timer configurations. So the first, it is initializing here the timer so that the peripheral is peripheral reset clock module. Okay, so that's the clock for timer A. Here is timer A base, and then here is the timer configuration of periodicity, and then here is timer A, and then it's a 0, right? And apart from this, if you see here that 0, okay, so that's corresponding to the prescaler value that must be between 0 and the 255. So the 0 means there is no prescaler. Okay, so this is all about the timer setup. Now let's come back to our NTP server. Okay, SNTP, simple network time protocol. Okay, so for that, if you see here, these are the SNTP host name and the IP address, and here the locations. Okay, so the time a.nsit.gov you can get. So here I am setting here, I mean the TI has set the time a.nist.gov. Okay, in fact you can add any of the servers as above mentioned, or I have shown there into a Google Chrome. Then what you need to do, then you need to set here the days of week. Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and the Monday, and then there is another array for the month of years, and the number of days into the month, and then digits. Okay, 0 to 9. So these are actually written for the parsing, so that we can parse days and the month and the days inside in that month, etc. And here is the structure for the app data. So inside the app data there would be a destination IP, socket ID, the left seconds, variables, general variable ones, etc. Now here if you come here, get NTP time task, okay, and then here get SNTP time. So the time is getting from here. If you press the control and click on this one, it will lead you to here. So here is Ndp Packet Handler. So the first it is coming the root delay, then root dispersons, identifiers, then the timestamps, then originate timestamps, then receive timestamp, then transmit timestamp, and then here is a message. Okay, so here if you see, it's setting here IP address etc. for NTP, and then finally it is waiting to receive NTP from the server. Once it gets NTP from the server, then what it is doing, then here it is parsing it. Okay, so from the data buffer it is parsing that data. Okay, and after the parsing that data, then what it is doing, see here, okay, it's storing those datas here, and here you see the month, and here it is trying to pass the number, okay, the day, number of days since beginning 2013, that is it returns from the SNTP. Now we need to parse that, and then here it is parsing that month, and it is also taking care of 365 days in a year. Okay, and then here the date. Okay, so the date of the current month, and then the time, number of seconds per hour, number of hours, number of minutes per hour, etc. So this is all about this is all about the parsing of the data after receiving. Okay, so this is all about the SNTP server, and if you see there, it will try to connect with the internet. That means we have to first build it, and after build we need to define our access point, right? So the access point where the internet would be accessed from where. Okay, so now it has successfully built, and now let's come back to the include. And if you come into the include and you see here the example common, and see the common.h. So inside the common.h we have already changed that to the Lakshmi, and the Lakshmi SSID must be enabled. So I have to enable with my Wi-Fi. Let me enable my Wi-Fi, and then so I have just enabled my Wi-Fi, and now I want to debug it. So it is telling that you need a a target configuration. So first you need to set the target configuration. Okay, so either we have a two option here. We have here CC3200. Let's make it as a default, and now let's run it. Okay, so you run it, you see here the Lakshmi has a Wi-Fi is enabled. Now it would connect with the Lakshmi, and then I have to also see our Terra term. You can get the Terra term from the web menu, and I mean the terminal from here, web menu, and then if you see here the terminal, it's telling that the voltage, but we don't need the voltage, actually it's fine. Okay, fine. So what we want here, uh, let's uh, let's run it. Okay, so let's open it and let's run it, then see what would happen. Right, see here, so the host name, drivers, and it has been connected with the IP address, and connected, the IP address has been assigned to the board, socket is created, and now it's the host address. IP is 129.6.15.28. Response from the server, it has got, it's Monday, October 3, 6, 12, 22 and 2017. Okay, so you can see here the time. Okay, so the time, how can I show you the time? If I open that date preference, I think, can you see there, 6 o'clock 13 minutes in the morning, right? And you can see here 6 o'clock 12 minutes, it's almost the 13 minutes in the morning. Okay, so this was actually a very simple program. It's an example. If you go it in details, then you would to know each and everything about this SNTP server. So I think I must stop this video tutorial here, and thanks for watching, and you can subscribe this channel so that you can get update directly into your inbox. Bye bye, have a nice day.